My presentation today will be on the San Andreas Fault. So the topics I will be discussing are an overall description of the fault, what the SAFOD project studies, and the overall theory of when the next big one will happen. So the San Andreas Fault is the longest running fault in North America, running almost 1,000 miles long through the coast of California. It is a transform fault, meaning that the plates slide past one another, and it is a right lateral strike slip, meaning that the plates slip parallel to each other and that the right one would look offset compared to the left one. So the plates involved are the North American and the Pacific plates, where the Pacific plate is moving north relative to the North American plate. It also contains subparallel plates that make up the large one, and it moves around 50 millimeters a year, which converts to about 2 inches. So the history of the fault is that it started moving around 28 to 30 million years ago, and since then it has moved a total of 186 to 220 miles about. And it wasn't until 1908 when a geology professor at UC Berkeley, Andrew C. Lawson, after the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco, he named it the San Andreas Fault and kind of realized that it was one long big fault. Some important earthquakes in the San Andreas Fault history is that the 3 largest earthquakes that have occurred on it using the Richter scale have been the Fort Tejon in 1857, which was an 8.3, the Great San Francisco earthquake of 1906, which was also an 8.3, and the most recent was the Loma Prieta earthquake, which was a 7.1 in 1989. The SAFOD project, or San Andreas Fault Observatory at Depth project, began in 2002, and it is located near Parkfield, California. They study a portion of the fault that is moving, so they're able to drill holes into the ground that are almost 3 kilometers deep, and they're able to penetrate the fault and measure it, and they're studying and trying to analyze and eventually predict using patterns of earthquakes to try and predict when future ones will occur. And then the theory of the big one. This has been something that scientists have been studying. They've been trying to predict when earthquakes will happen, but the only thing we can really look at is patterns. And the reason why the big one has become such a big topic is because the San Andreas Fault, specifically the southern end of the fault near Los Angeles and the Indio area, is under a lot of stress, and it has not had a big earthquake in over 300 years, whereas the northern end and the central end have both had big earthquakes in the past, but the southern end is way overdue. So in conclusion, scientists are still trying to figure out how we can exactly predict earthquakes, but for now, all we can do is prepare for them and, use our scientific developments to try and be able to predict when a big one will happen. And then here are my references. Thank you.